So she hears that the government wants 30 months to turn over or review and process 700 documents, and she's like, well, that doesn't sound right to me. And so she's suggesting that there should be a quicker way to get things done, and she ordered the Justice Department and Judicial Watch to consult together to either narrow the records that need to be reviewed or find a way to accelerate the process. We were also in court this week. We were in court over a lawsuit we filed against the National Archives for records about Joe Biden's crime family. That's the best way I can summarize it. And I'm going to show you what we asked for because it shows you how comprehensive the lawsuit was. Let me see here. Federal court hearing set. Okay. So federal court hearing set. It was already set. We already had it. But here's the lawsuit. Parties, let's go, statement of facts. And here's the list of the request. Records and communications from former Vice President Joe Biden. So what we did was we said, we know Joe didn't become a corrupt politician just because he got into the presidency. We knew he was corrupt during the vice presidency when his son was working in Burisma. So that's what we went back to. Let's give us Obama library records, right? From the archives. And so look at this. Any communication with Robert Hunter Biden, James Brian Biden, Francis William Frank Biden, or Sarah Jones Biden between January 20, 2029 and January 20, 2017, any international domestic travel, financial activity, and then communications about Tony Bobolinsky, who blew the whistle on all this, their Chinese connections, Burisma, all of these key entities. And it just goes on and on. Look at that. There's 26, 27, 28, 29, like 31 subparts and categories. And they've been giving us documents, and we've been getting some documents over time, but it's been taking forever to get the access to the information. We received documents showing that Hunter, for instance, was CC'd on records, or I think a call with information about a call with Ukraine. Let me make sure that I'm right on that. Let me get back here. The lawsuit forced the release of records revealing emails sent by Joe Biden using alias accounts. Biden approved ending Secret Service protection for both Hunter and Beau Biden's daughter, Natalie, during a trip to Kosovo. That was weird. Emails included messages to Jim and Hunter Biden regarding the then vice president's schedule and meetings. So they knew what he was up to. Emails also showed that Hunter and Jim Biden accompanied Joe on taxpayer-funded trips. He forgot an email password, which I guess isn't unusual. Forced the release of records showing that then Vice President Joe Biden and his son Hunter received a May 2026, I did remember this correctly, 2016 email detailing a scheduled 8:45 a.m. prep for an 9 a.m. phone call with President Poroshenko, who was then the president of Ukraine. Why is Hunter involved with calls for the president of Ukraine? The lawsuit is an opportunity for the Trump team to stop the deep state stonewalking of the release of Biden family corruption records. So we go into court. We've gotten some records, but there are like 700 documents left. And so when you're dealing with the courts, they talk about records like, well, they talk about records being the by page number, right, or the number of pages. So you could have a, let me start over. You could have a document that has 12 pages. So they have 700 documents they have to review. How many pages those are, I don't know. Let's say they're all 12 pages, so maybe a few thousand. Not a big deal in terms of government review. But they want 30 months to turn them over. So once again, we're in court before Judge, I'm afraid to mispronounce her name, Judge Sparkle L. Sooknanan, Sooknanan, S-O-O-K-N-A-N-A-N, who's a fine judge, seemingly. I mean, she's a Biden appointee, but she seems to be interested in moving this FOIA case along. So she hears that the government wants 30 months to turn over or review and process 700 documents, and she's like, well, that doesn't sound right to me. And so she's suggesting that there should be a quicker way to get things done, and she ordered the Justice Department and Judicial Watch to consult together to either narrow the records that need to be reviewed or find a way to accelerate the process. But it's frustrating to have to hear a lawyer from Pam Bondi's Justice Department come in and say it's going to take 2.5 years before you find out all the details about Joe Biden's criminality when he was vice president, as might be evidenced in these emails. And I don't understand what the reason for it is, what the excuse is for it. If they want to release the records, they'll release the records. So the point is, I mean, we're in court almost once a week now, multiple times a week sometimes, against the Trump Justice Department, Pam Bondi's Justice Department, as they, defend the withholding of information. I mean, suing is one thing, right? But once the suit is filed, you would think they'd say, okay, let's pay attention to this and get these records out there, because we know what Judicial Watch's reputation is. They're trying to uncover government corruption. Now, I don't want to be completely negative, because they are changing their positions on some issues, however slowly and incrementally, to allow for more disclosures. So there has been positive movement, but more needs to be done. There needs to be a prioritization of this. And the best example of this is the Epstein files. Epstein, is it Epstein or Epstein? Now I'm getting confusing myself. Right? So if they get their act together on transparency, a lot of other things will fall into place, I think, in terms of public confidence. I really do. I mean, prosecutions are one thing, and we can talk a lot about whether there should be prosecutions or not. But I recognize it's a complicated issue, and it may not be everything I want to happen. But there's really no excuse for lack of transparency. There really is. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.